Alright everyone, I'm here to talk to you about Flash Season 2, Episode 1. And this video will contain spoilers, so I'm just letting you guys know beforehand. Alright, so it doesn't start off from last season exactly where it stopped. Flash was running into the vortex and that's where it ended. So it starts, we see Flash standing off with Captain Cold and Heatwave. He seems to be handling them just fine. He's battled these guys before and he has no problem with them. Captain Cold hits him with the ice gun and he seems to be down for a second, but Firestorm's there to save the day, and these guys pretty make quick work of him, and they're back to Star Labs. So we get back to Star Labs, and everyone starts to congratulate him. He starts, the whole Flash team is there, and then we see Eddie and Wells, and we kind of come to the conclusion that he's having a moment. So it cuts to where he's all by himself in Star Labs, and he gives this little spiel of how he's how what happened with the Reverse Flash and everything, and he's basically looks like he's going at it alone from this point. And we do see, as he's running around explaining this, there's a Flash Day coming up. So I'll get to that a little bit later on, but Barry seems to be going at alone at this point. So Joe meets up with him at a crime scene where a man named Al Rostein has been strangled by something large. Joe is really happy when Barry rules out that it wasn't Grodd. He's ecstatic that they don't have to deal with him right now. So Joe also asks Barry, will he be coming to Flash Day? Because it seems like Central City is holding a celebration for him for stopping the singularity. Barry has no intention of going to this. So as Joe and Barry split up, we see a man taking pictures of Barry from a distance. It looks very suspicious to me, so I had to point that little part out. Alright, so we get to Central City Police Department, and Joe has been given a task force for stopping metahumans, with Cisco as their scientist advisor, to basically develop stuff that will help take down the metas. So Cisco is pitching his idea, the boot, that's supposed to be one of his inventions to help, the police force handle the metas. And we see that Cisco asks the commissioner. It seems like, again, he is asking for a police badge. And Cisco, Cisco's just funny to me. He's one of my favorite characters. But the commissioner denies him. It looks like, again, that he is not allowed a police badge. So him and Joe get into a conversation on how Barry has taken this solo thing too far. And we find out Caitlin is working at Mercury Labs since the singularity. So this is when Iris shows up and, more Barry, they talk about pretty much trying to convince him to come to the Flash Day event. So Joe suggests that his best friend do it. Cisco raises his hand and says he's already tried. And Joe looks at him like, no, I'm not talking about you. I meant Iris. So Iris finds Barry fixing up the old coffee shop, Central City Jitters. And supposedly, Barry has been fixing up all these businesses at night that were destroyed in the singularity. So she suggests that she should write a news article for it, which Barry is, he's not up for that at all. He doesn't want anything written about him in the paper. So Iris pretty much, she tells him that he saved the city, and he says that It wasn't him that saved the city. So Iris leaves, and we get a flashback to where the season finale ended and where Flash runs into the singularity. He seems to be stabilizing it, but he can't keep up the speed supposedly for that long. So Stein says him and Ronnie as Firestorm have to fly into the center of the singularity and split. That will destabilize the singularity. So they get up there, Firestorm splits, and basically the singularity fades. They save the day, but I only see one body drop. I don't see Ronnie or anything like that. Flash saves Stein, and it seems that Ronnie has disappeared. I didn't see what happened to him at all. So the flashback ends, and I guess we see why he feels like he has to do stuff alone because, Ronnie disappeared, Eddie shot himself. So, we get to Flash Day, everyone's here, the Flash team is there, but we also see the photographer from earlier in the crowd, so I pointed that out a little bit, but we also see this hooded figure who gets the attention of Stein after he knocks into him in the crowd. And this is when the key to the city is being presented to Flash. And so Barry does decide to show up for all this. And this is when all trouble breaks loose, A food stand is hurled onto the stage, and Flash gets the mayor to safety, and he confronts this new guy who basically knocks him into a police car with ease. Cisco sees him and has one of his flashes of the newcomer talking to someone with glowing, I don't know if it was purple or blue, but they have purple, some kind of electricity, and their eyes were glowing. And Joe has to snap Cisco out of this, yelling for the boot, which Cisco grabs and gives to Joe. Joe takes a shot, and the boot latches onto this new guy and does nothing. This guy pretty much absorbs the energy around him and starts to grow. If you haven't figured it out already, from all the, hints and spoilers that we've seen online, this is Atom Smasher. We see Atom Smasher in the flesh, and he looks awesome to me. To me, he looks awesome. This was a really awesome scene. So, since this didn't work, Barry grabs 2 propane tanks and tells Joe to shoot them as he tosses them towards Atom Smasher. The tanks explode, and we see that it's the exact same guy from earlier that was murdered, Al Rothstein. So he decides to make a getaway, and it was an awesome scene, man. It's just the way they're bringing the metas in, and the guys with superpowers is awesome. So Cisco is researching this guy, and we see that he was not exposed by the Wells explosion the year ago. He wasn't even in the city at the time, so he couldn't be affected that way at all. And then Iris shows up with a tip that all the x-ray machines that were in the vicinity stopped when Atom Smasher grew, and tries to convince Joe that they need to stop letting Barry push them away and help him anyway. So Cisco goes to Mercury Labs to get Caitlin's help on Atom Smasher. As we all know, Cisco, he can be very, very convincing. So he convinces Caitlin to help them out with the Atom Smasher deal. And, we get back to Barry. He gets a visit from a lawyer, and it seems like Wells left Barry's Star Labs. I don't know if it's all his, but it seems like Star Labs is Barry's at this point. And so Wells has left Barry a drive that Barry needs to watch to inherit all this stuff, or it's forfeit pretty much. So Barry gets an alert that Star Labs security is going off, and he rushes over there, and the whole crew is there. Well, not Caitlin. Cisco, Stein, Iris, and Joe are all there working on the case. Barry tells them he doesn't need their help, and they basically tell him no. Cisco tracks down Atom Smasher, and Stein comes up with the name. Everybody knows from the first season, Cisco comes up with the name. That's his thing. And Cisco looks at Stein with just all kinds of admiration and welcomes him to the team. That that cinches it right there. Him coming up with that name just put him on the team for life for Cisco. So So Barry denies their help again after Cisco tracked down Atom Smasher, and he runs off so he can be able to take down Atom Smasher himself. So so they stand off, and Flash wants to know why he killed the other Rothstein. He won't tell him, so Flash attacks and gets, handled again by Atom Smasher. Atom Smasher just knocks him around. It's really, really bad. The the windmill hands, the speed punches. Nothing is working on Atom Smasher pretty much. So Cisco and all of them are watching on a security cam because Barry decides to leave his comms and all that. So they had no idea what's going on until they accessed the security cams. So they're watching Barry take a beating. So Stein suggests that they activate the alarms that are in the warehouse. And this gives Barry the time to escape and get away, where he makes it back to Star Labs and passes out. So he blacks out and he has a flashback where he's little again and his dad just went to prison, and Joe is telling him to not bottle up his feelings. It's okay to show emotion. And, it's a pretty heartwarming scene where you see that, Joe and him have a really strong connection. So Barry wakes up in a bed in Star Labs, and Joe is there telling him that he won't be playing the hero anymore, pretty much. He won't be playing the hero, and because all Joe sees him doing is killing himself. He needs to accept the help from his friends and stop worrying about what happened that day, because they were all there. They all made their own decisions to help him stop the singularity and to stop Wells. And so none of it is Barry's fault, pretty much. Ronnie made his own decisions. Eddie made his own decisions. All of them that were there, they made their own decisions to stand by him and, save the city. And he tells Barry that instead of building Central City up at night, he needs to start building on some more important stuff and move on. So I guess one of those things is apologizing to Caitlin, because he believes that it's his fault that Ronnie disappeared, and Caitlin doesn't blame Barry. She blames herself for not leaving in the first season when Ronnie asked her to leave with him and, get away from Star Labs in Central City and all that. And she says that's why she left Star Labs, because it was a constant reminder to her, and she was tired of, feeling that way. So Barry grabs a handkerchief out of his pocket, and I'm like, come on, why does Barry have a handkerchief? Why does the Flash have a handkerchief? And the drive that the lawyer gave him falls out of his pocket. He pretty much tells Caitlin what it is, and she suggests that they should watch it. Wells comes on the screen and explains to Barry that, he wasn't his enemy, he doesn't hate him, and I'm like, You killed his mom, dude. Why wouldn't he hate you? So, but anyways, Wells, I was always a character, anyways. But he comes on the screen and he gives his confession to free Barry's dad. Barry is ecstatic. He gets the video over to Joe, and it looks like the video is enough evidence to free Barry's dad. With this good news, Barry is ready to take on Atom Smasher again. And finally, this brings the team back together. And Caitlin comes up with a plan to give Atom Smasher all the radiation he needs. So, this is when we see the flashlight. And where Cisco claims he saw it in a comic book. Of course you did, Cisco. Of course you did. You saw the flashlight in a comic book. So, Flash taunts Atom Smasher into a chase and leads him into a reactor where he's trapped. Atom Smasher tries to absorb all the radiation, but he can't. So, this pretty much kills him. So before he dies, Flash apologizes for what happened and that he couldn't let him hurt any more people. And he asks his Atom Smasher why did he want to kill him. Atom Smasher says he was promised a trip home by Zoom if he killed Barry. So we know who Cisco saw him talking to in his little, I guess, their vibes or vibrations or so they're kind of like flashes to me, so that's what I'm going to call them. So yeah, that's what I'm calling them. They're really, he has them, and he sees stuff, and that's what I'm going to call them from now. So it looks like the convention was enough and Barry's dad was a relief, where a huge welcome party is waiting for them. Barry is so happy. His dad's been locked up for pretty much 15 years. He's trying to talk his dad into getting an apartment together and starting back up his practice. And his dad doesn't seem like he's ready to do any of that. He's not going to stick around in Central City. He thinks that if he's there, Barry's not gonna put all he has into being the Flash because he's gonna be worried about his dad. And so I guess, it's kind of upsetting that after all this time, all the work he did, that his dad didn't really want to stick around. I guess I get where he's coming from, but it was kind of upsetting to me that, hey, you missed 15 years with your son. Why are you dipping out already? So after all this time, even after getting him out, he still loses his dad. So that was kind of upsetting. But we get back to Star Labs and we get a look at the new Flash suit with the white behind the bow, and it looks awesome. I can't wait till next episode where we get to see it in action. And it looks like everyone there, they've been at work upgrading the security at Star Labs, which, even though they upgraded, they still get an unwelcome visitor who shows up at Star Labs. The guy that was taking pictures at Flash Day, he introduces himself as Jay Garrick, you guys, and I know everybody was happy to see him, whoever watched it. I know you were holding on to the edge of your seats like I was, and he pretty much says their world is in danger. And that's pretty much the end of this episode. Alright, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, and this was an awesome episode. I can't wait till next week. And, today we got Arrow coming on tonight, so all of you guys tune into that, and hopefully it's just as awesome as all these other shows that are coming on. So hopefully we get a awesome season premiere of the Arrow tonight. And I think Supernatural is coming on tonight, so hopefully we get an awesome season premiere of that one also. So thanks you guys for watching, and have a great day.